I was muted. My audio looks like it's doing something weird. If it sounds absolutely terrible, please do tell me. I've got a whole new setup that I'm working on. But in theory, it should be working. But I seem to be getting a lot of noise, like just a lot of background noise. Oh, I forgot to turn on my background lights. One second, give me a second turning on my background lights. Yeah, that should add a little something, make it look a little nicer. Yeah, much better. I don't have a color grade on this time. I'm testing it with no color grading and I'm just going with lighting. So my skin is going to look very pink, but that is because I am Irish and pale. But yeah, all right. So in theory, we should be live. Should be looking good. Who we got here? Oh, John is already here. John, how's it going? Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. No, not that one. This one. Hey, I'm a professional. I know exactly what I'm doing. John, how's it going? You been doing okay? You're over in England, right? What is it? 9 o'clock over there? Something like that? Very cool. Well, here's what I want to do. I'm trying to do these weekly live streams, but today, I didn't know what to talk about, and I kind of feel bad. Look, the RX1 III, we can talk about it, and we're going to talk about it because I have some thoughts on it, but I just didn't know what else to talk about this week. I've got a couple of other ideas, but I decided to just use the clickbaity one that everyone's going for at the moment. So yeah, we'll talk about the RX1R, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Mark III, because I genuinely, I don't understand it. So I'm intrigued to hear what people's thoughts are. But so we'll talk about that a little bit, and then just talk about general camera Q&A stuff. I don't have quite as long today. I'll try and make it like 2 hours as normal, but it's probably going to be closer to like an hour and a half, and see what's happening. So what's the camera, lens, and setup for today's stream? Well, so it's still my FX30 with the Sigma 16 f1.4 going into my ATEM switcher, but with no color grade. And then my Shure SM7B is actually running through a FET head into the camera. So hopefully it can power it with the FET head. In theory, it should be able to. It should be fine. It looks like my levels are okay. The only thing that I was finding a bit odd was like the background noise, like whenever I'm quiet, is quite loud. So that was the only thing. So 9 p.m, just got the kids to bed. Nice. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Different time zones always make things a little bit weird. So I thought, Fridays I can't do any earlier than like 5. So I thought if I do Saturdays, I can do 4. This is EST. So that's where we're at. I'm in Kentucky. For those of you who don't know, I know I sound not from Kentucky, but I am from Kentucky. So here we are. Let's talk about the RX1R III. It's an A7CR, so that's kind of the thing I want to talk about. With half the features and double the price, done. That's kind of it, isn't it? Like, but I want to hear people's thoughts about like this whole like point and shoot kind of thing. I know it's technically not a point and shoot, but I guess it kind of is at the same time. So yeah, but we'll chat about it. Hello from Belfast. People over in Belfast, how are things going? I hope the chaos over the last couple of weeks has treated you okay. I know people on all sides can get exhausted just with everything that goes on, so hope you all are doing well. Sorry, there's like a vacuum now running right outside the door, if you're wondering if there's lots of noise. The fact that it's more expensive than a Fuji medium format is pretty crazy. That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, I know it's like maybe competing with Leica, or it's supposed to compete with Leica. My whole thing is I don't think it does compete with Leica at all, but we'll get into that. Let me quickly tweak my light just a second, and then I've totally forgot to set up my secondary camera, so I need to find a little micro HDMI adapter. Give me 1 second. Never mind, the micro HDMI adapter is not where I thought it was, so we'll do without. Alright. Galaxy says it's a solid camera for 2 to 2.5 grand. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. 2,000 to 2, I mean, maybe. Well, so here's my take, right? I don't think I would or will ever buy a camera that has a fixed lens. That's kind of my thing. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Leica or Fuji or whatever. Like, I just don't want to get locked into something where I'm stuck with one lens. If I want to have a small compact lens for travel, I would rather have that option. Like, I actually think this camera would be more appealing if it had interchangeable lenses. But if it came with that as a... Hello. Hi, sorry, I'm working on something over here. You're good. Lol. Sorry, I'm in a church basement right now and there's people working on stuff. So, I'm peeking. I apologize. All right. It's so warm in here. I apologize. If I'm all red and sweaty looking, I just finished mowing the yard and I am really warm. All right. Fixed lens, right. I don't think I would ever buy a camera that has a fixed lens. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I want to have the option. And if I want to, I think I've already said this, if I want to go out and have a compact lens, then give me that. Or better yet, give me that as a kit. So this is something that I think camera brands need to be doing a lot more, is instead of giving us these cheap, crappy zoom lenses, give us a really nice little prime. Like, give us a 35mm f2 prime as the kit instead of the zoom, because I think people would get better photos and videos from a prime. Like, that's what I love about the Nikon ZF, is it comes with that 40mm. Now the 40mm is made really cheaply, right? It's not a very good lens as far as build quality goes, but it is actually like really, it has really good images. So I think it's more valuable that way. That's kind of my thoughts. But hey Thomas, the RX1R III struck me as a more interesting of late, as I saw how much smaller it was than the A7CR. It's not a camera targeted for me, but I could see people where photography is their profession. It's great. Fair enough. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's maybe one of the weird things, is because they didn't send it to anybody, we haven't seen it in people's hands. Like, we haven't seen it to know the kind of scale, or I guess the initial launch of the camera, we hadn't seen it, and I haven't really followed up a whole lot since then, just because I've been disenchanted by it, is kind of where I'm at with it. So yes, I don't know. It's strange. For me, it's just a fixed lens. I don't want a fixed lens camera. You know, not for $5,000. If I'm spending $5,000 on a camera, it needs to be so multi-purpose that I can use for so many things to get my money's worth. But then again, I guess it's not targeted towards me, who's pretty cheap. So it's nowhere near competing with Leica. I agree, for the 2.5 to 3,000, it's tempting, but for 5K, they're out of their minds. Yeah, I really hope that's pre-tariff. So they said it's supposed to be pre-tariff, or a couple of people have said it's supposed to be free tariff before tariff. Sorry, after tariffs. Sorry, words just got mixed up. If that's not including the tariffs, that's going to be crazy. But I certainly hope it is. I'd personally prefer the Fuji GFX 100 RF, but Sony's AI and AF chip will be better than the competition, but it's super, super niche. Other than that, the A7CR is a better choice for 98% of people. You know what's really interesting about this is, I think I haven't heard anybody talk about the A7CR since it launched until this camera came out. And now everybody's like, oh, that's the great camera. That's the one you got to go for. But it, like, when it got launched, people were like, yeah, just get the A7C Mark II. It's a better choice. But now that there's another option, everyone's like, yeah, get the A7CR. Because not too long ago, I was looking, and whenever I got my Nikon ZF, I was looking for a full frame Sony camera to get, and I was thinking I should get an A7C Mark II, and I noticed the A7CRs used were going for really cheap. It was like $2,200, $2,300, and I was like, that's kind of a bargain. I could definitely go for, definitely go for something like that. But then I got the Nikon ZF for like $1,400, and I was hooked on that one. So I just got a 40mm f2 pre-release lens, and it's awesome. The pre-release lens for Nikon, or for, what was that for? I don't know what you mean by what was the pre-release lens? I'm intrigued. Lazy Man Joe's here. How's it going? Debating between Insta360 Action Pro 2 or going all in on a Lumix S9. Totally different cameras. Hang on. Insta360 Action Pro 2 or going all in on a Lumix S9. I've never owned a proper camera before. Priority is talking to camera and hopefully site visits. Community thoughts appreciated. I've never seen people use the 360 Action Pro 2 as like a talking head camera. Those are two very different cameras. So, you're kind of looking at two very different niches. I personally, again, down to the fact that I like having cameras with, interchangeable lenses, I'd go Lumix S9. The image quality is going to be way superior on the Lumix S9. It's going to do a little bit, you're going to have to learn a little bit more how to use your camera, which is fine. But the Lumix S9 is a great little place to start. I mean, that's a decent amount of money. You're probably talking about $1,000 to $1,100 if you're looking used. But it is great. And then you also have to add lenses. So I guess it kind of depends on budget, but yeah, two very different choices there. No such thing as a bad camera for the most part, only bad pricing. Very true. Very true. I don't know where I would price this camera. Because it is a niche camera, and niche cameras tend to be more expensive, right? But not that expensive. I think it is just weird because it lacks so much. It doesn't have any IBIS. Like I'm wondering what would have happened if they, went for a normal mechanical shutter instead of a leaf shutter. I don't know if that would be cheaper. All that kind of stuff. I don't know. I really don't know how all of that works. But it just seems like a strange camera. And here's my other complaint. And this is very not important. I just think it's ugly. Like the Leicas and Fujis, they're beautiful cameras, just like the look of them, right? Excluding the actual image quality, right? Image quality out the window for now. The actual camera itself is like an art piece, right? They're just beautiful cameras. Same with like Nikon's. The ZF and the ZFC, I think, are kind of similar. You've got that kind of vintage vibe that a lot of people are really looking for, that sort of old rangefinder kind of feel. But yeah, the Sony just is kind of ugly, in my opinion. Like I don't think it actually looks good. Sorry, I just keep hitting things. So that's like one of the weirdest parts for me. Is I actually don't even think that it looks nice. Favorite wireless mics? Ask me again in 2 weeks. That's all I'll say. Because there's new ones coming out and I'm very excited about them. But I won't get them until probably next week. And then I will have a review coming out in early August. So ask me again in a couple of weeks, because these new ones that I'm really hoping for, or these new ones that I'm getting, that I'm really hoping are as good as they seem to be, will be my top recommendation, provided that they actually work as well as they seem like they could. Sorry, I need to put my phone on airplane mode. 1 second. Keeps buzzing. All right. For Sony E-mount, it's not available until September. 40mm f2? Hang on, I need to look this up. Let me see. $40mm f2 pre-release. Ooh. Is it f2.5? Oh, that's bright. Good lord. Sorry, I just got flashbanged. I got a new monitor and it's like crazy bright. Hang on. I just saw the LCD screen on my camera just go like bang. Is it so 40mm f2.5G? Is that the one you're talking about? I'm not sure if that's the one that you mean. I don't know. Interesting. I love my the Nikon 40mm f2G. I think it's great. Big fan. Hello from, is that New Zealand? Or is there a state that begins with NL? I don't think there's an NL state, but New Zealand? Maybe? No, what am I talking about? New Zealand? That's not even... Bro, I'm so tired. Maybe it is New Zealand. What's NL? Help. My brain's not working. I feel like the camera is trying to fill a gap between point and shoot and full frame, but Sony just forgot APS-C camera existed. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, if this camera was APS-C and they charged $5,000, that would be wild. I mean, I don't know. I mean, full frame makes sense. I mean, if anything, Sony are the ones that are manufacturing sensors. Why don't they just go out and make a medium format and stick it in a camera like this? Just make it a little bit bigger. Like make it in the A7C style body, but stick a medium format in there. Granted, through a fixed lens on, if that's kind of how these cameras tend to work. Go for it, but do something different. Again, they're just recycling stuff. This is the same complaint with the FX2, which I don't mind the FX2 personally. But I'm thinking of putting out a little video of I hate complaining, which to be fair, it looks like that's what I'm doing for this video. I'm not a big complainer. But like whenever I first got into cameras, Sony were the company that were like really pushing the boat and just doing stuff. And like the cameras would like break and, you know, crash and overheat and all of these kind of things. But they were giving us things that nobody else was at the time. Like when the A6500 came out and the Sony A7S II, sort of that era, like everyone was like, oh, the camera's overheat. But everyone was like, yeah, but it gives us like 4K 30, like, or 4K 60 in some of the cameras. Like that wasn't a thing back then. And they're just like, they're really, I don't think it was 4K 60, but they're really pushing the 4K in these tiny little bodies back in the day when that was kind of brand new. And, you know, Canon and Nikon and everyone, they were still in their DSLR phase. Sony was in the mirrorless world and were really pushing the boat and doing new stuff at the expense of sometimes the cameras would have problems. But a lot of people online were like, yeah, but I don't care if it has problems. Look at all this cool stuff they're doing. And now they're doing the opposite. It's like, okay, we know this stuff works, so let's put this in a camera because it's safe. And it's not working for them. I think the drastic change of tactic didn't work very well. I run a decent-sized Facebook group solely focused on the A7C II and A7CR. And there's a pretty fervent fan base for the CR, but I never hear about that cam on YouTube or anywhere else. Yeah, I don't know why. Actually, out of the two, the CR was the one that interested me when it first came out. I just didn't have the money for it. So, I don't know. To me, it seems like the more exciting camera. The CR, or the CR and the C2 back in the day. But yeah. And they all scoffed at the R Mark III. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I don't know what Sony's doing. So Sony are going to have to hit it out of the park with the A7 V when that comes out. I'm assuming that's kind of in their next lineup of 7 series of cameras. Like they're going to have to really, I don't know, they're going to have to do something. Because two negatively viewed camera releases in a row is not good for a camera company. But it's not recoverable, right? For example, Lumix brought out the Lumix S9 and people didn't like it very much. And then they brought out the S1R II, S1 2R, S1R II, and people were like not too sure about that one either because they're rolling shutter. And then they released the S1 II and everyone's like, okay, yeah, we're Lumix. So they just need to need to nail it with this next one. Because if they release 3 duds in a row, that could be very painful. The A7CR was always an amazing camera. It was just $800 more than the A7C II. Yep, that's fair enough. Which had more or less the same features as the A7C II, but it's amazing. It's amazing, but the A7CR is also brilliant. The CR is just like, because this year was kind of the year that I was like, I want to get back into photography. I'll keep doing videography, but you know, I want to do more photography stuff. And so that's when I was looking at like the Nikon ZR, which is what I ended up getting. But that's when the A7CR came in because it does have that 61 megapixel camera. It's an A7R V, which is a very expensive camera in a much cheaper format, which appealed to me big time. You won't find it. It's a third party. Ah, okay. Interesting. I'll wait for your video. If you put a video out about it. Sony is great at making boring and soulless cameras design-wise, other than the FX3 body, in my opinion. Yep, I think that's true. I think that's fair. Yeah, they were always kind of like, these other camera brands have these like nostalgic style cameras. You know, they're kind of their range finders, all that kind of stuff. Like they're leaning on the nostalgia. Sony need to lean into the futuristic, in my opinion, because they don't have the nostalgia. Sony don't have these old cameras, like old film cameras that people loved and flocked to sort of relive. So they need to lean into something futuristic and just, I don't know, do something weird. That's kind of my thinking. Netherlands. Okay. Netherlands. Very cool. I've actually never been to the Netherlands. I've always wanted to go. I've never been there. I'm happy with my soulless A6700, but it's $1,500 and not $5,100. Yeah, for real. That's what this camera is here. It's not plugged in, but yeah, the $5,100. I have no idea. I just don't understand. I can understand spending $5,000 on a camera, but a camera that you can get with more features for half the price, just a little bit bigger, and you can change the lenses. I don't know. I don't understand. Kyle's here. Kyle, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I haven't seen. Are you still doing any live streams these days? I haven't checked back in to see if you're still doing your lives, but I know you used to do them with Paul quite a bit. Matthew, how's it going? I couldn't tell which Matthew that was until your image popped up. There's a buddy of mine from back home. Excited to see you in January, hopefully. And the problem is the people who are complaining about the RX1R III are the same people who wouldn't be buying it anyways. That's fair. That is fair. I'm one of those people. I will not be buying it because I do not have $5,000. The RX1R crowd are loving this release. So that was the thing. Like, that's why I titled this one Help Me Understand. Because whenever I saw Sony's actual video release, I looked in the comments and people were like, finally, we got a new one. Like, the people who, like, in the comments were really excited. But I don't get it. No, yes, I understand this. It's maybe not for me necessarily. And that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. But I feel like I'm usually decent at being able to understand where other people are coming from with their needs. And maybe it is just a money thing. I don't know if are they just targeting an audience that have silly money to throw at cameras? I mean, maybe they are. My thing is, I just don't understand why you would choose it over a GFX. Like, if you've got silly money to throw at cameras, I don't know why you wouldn't go for the medium format. Which I know, I've said 100 times, sensor size is not everything, but it's something different. Not very many people have medium format, so it does set you apart. So that's kind of the question of this, is like, who is the audience for this camera, and will they buy it? That's kind of what I want to know. Or do we know anyone who has actually bought one? And or is anybody here who's actually bought one? And if you have bought one, tell me why. I genuinely want to know. A7 V needs to have 4K 120 to even compete. Yeah, maybe. The FX3 Mark II needs to have basically the same specs as the S1R II, 6K open gate, 6K overcam, 6K oversampled, 4K up to 120 and 24 megapixels. Yeah. I think the FX3 too needs to have internal NDs. If they did that, people would be excited. Again, I genuinely don't think an FX3 Mark II is even in the works, in my opinion. I mean, it might be, but I don't think it's in the works. Not while people keep buying the FX3. The FX3 is such a solid camera, and people are still buying it so much that they don't need it. They don't need to make another one yet. So In a perfect world, I'd have a Sony A7CR and an FX3 Mark II. Then I'm a happy camper. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, we all have these. I have these dreams of cameras. I mean, this is like, so the $5,000 mark of the R3, right? The RX1R III is kind of like my limit on a camera, but it's also my goal for a camera by the end of the year or early next year. I've started setting aside some money, and I've got close to what I need. But what I'm waiting for is to see what Nikon do with, if they come out with a FX3 competitor, with this supposed Nikon ZR thing that might not exist. That's kind of what I'm waiting on, because, you know, if they could come out with something around that $4,000 mark that is up there with the Lumix cameras, but means that I don't have to get rid of all of my lenses, I'm getting it. That is where I'm at. So, but again, where I'm at currently, yes, this camera that I'm talking about today is not going to be in my wheelhouse for now. Let me put it this way: say I own a Civic and I'm waiting for the Type R, but then I get mad at how expensive the NSX is after they announce it. Like, I wasn't actually going to buy an NSX anyway. Yeah. So no, that's totally true. It's like there's obviously they've. I mean, Sony are better at camera marketing than I am. Right? They've got marketing departments and they know what they're doing. This one is just weird because it came so quickly out of the blue, and nobody seems to, other than for like RX1R Mark II people. I haven't heard much. And that's an expensive camera, and developing a camera for a small niche audience that's an expensive endeavor, which isn't usually what Sony do. That's kind of like the thing, is like, usually Sony are like appealing to masses, and this one just seems so niche, which just surprises me, you know. But yeah, Sony could use design elements from the older Minoltas if they wanted to make a retro body. Does Sony own Minolta? Is that the same company? I don't really, I mean, I know about Minolta, but I didn't know if Sony have any connection, or are you just meaning like they could sort of use that a little bit to sort of, for the marketing side of things? Very true. Yeah, for sure. Yes, definitely marketing to people who have silly money. They want to compete with the Leica crowd. This is my thing, is do you think, well, okay, so Kyle, here's the question. Do you think this camera does compete with Leica? I understand that they have better autofocus. So the Sony definitely has a better autofocus, but for most people, it would be hard to, I don't know, it'd be hard to pass up a Leica for this camera, I think, or a GFX. Other than, yeah, maybe just diehard fans, I guess. Yeah, maybe. So, but yeah. Kyle, I think a lot of people are upset that it might be indicative of a price range shift towards the upward direction while not adding features. Yeah, I certainly hope that's not the case. I mean, hopefully the idea is that it's just, this sounds bad, hopefully it's just that they're just getting rid of old tech. Or not getting rid of, using the tech that they have in new ways, which I don't think is a bad thing, right? I said this about the FX2. I don't think the FX2 is a bad camera at all. I think it's actually a great option for a lot of people. But for, you know, that is one of the major complaints, is that people are like, why are we just recycling tech? And I don't think recycling tech is bad, as long as the tech is good. And to be fair, for both of these cameras, the sensor is good. The image is very good. But that doesn't mean I don't want a little bit more. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just do something interesting. The audience is for Leica fans with Leica money. Yeah. Well, we'll need to check, right? So I'm intrigued to see if the Leica people on YouTube test this camera and compare them, just to see. I mean, this is one of those weird things, right? This is why this is not a video and this is a live stream, because this camera is not for me and I'm not going to buy this camera. And I do my best to not talk about gear that I have no intention of buying or that I don't want, right? Because it's very easy to do that. Or especially talking about gear that I don't have. There's the odd moment where I'll make a video about a piece of gear that I don't own, but usually I try to just stick it to the stuff that I actually have, because that makes more sense to me. But I thought live streams are a kind of fun place to just sort of have a little back and forth with you guys about what we think about this. So yeah. Rip Guy, hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I think this is how Sony is going to be releasing cameras going forward. They absolutely hate the leaks they've had in the past. Yeah. We got an email from Sony about meeting the same day it was announced. So I heard, I think it was Jared Poland was talking about that a little bit. Yeah, and look, this was my thing about the FX2. It was really weird with the FX2. The FX2 leaks came out and said this camera is going to be $3,500, and here's all the specs. They proceeded to get all of the specs wrong, and it was $1,000 cheaper than what they said it was going to be. But in the comments of all of those leaks videos, everyone was like, oh my goodness, that's way too high a price. If it was $2,500, that would be more reasonable. And then it came out at $27,000, and everyone's like, it's way too expensive. It should be $18,000. And you're like, well, hang on. You're just upset now. You're upset because of these leaks that have got you all riled up about a camera before you even knew what it was. And you set these expectations of, well, if it was this, I'd buy it. And then it came out at that, but you still hate it. So I totally get Sony hating the leaks, because they have been really damaging to multiple camera companies. The leaks have just been so damaging. When they get things wrong, oh, it's awful. But yeah, and to be, you know what, here's an interesting point. We didn't get any leaks. As far as I'm aware, I didn't hear about any leaks about this camera, which could mean that the leakers are just YouTubers, which would kind of suck. Because I guess I'm kind of one of them now. Am I? Partially? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that would be really sad if they're violating their NDAs. If it was like Sony people working at Sony violating their NDAs, that's one thing. But if it's, I don't know, that'd be sad. Sony acquired Minolta in the early 2000s, so imagine if the RX1R III had some unique retro designs that could, yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, so if they did want to hop back on stuff, they could like do like a Sony Minolta thing. That would be an interesting kind of combo. Or here's what I'm thinking is like, you know, they did it with the lens, right? Everybody loves Zeiss. I assume, okay, that's a big assumption. But like when you see a Zeiss logo on something, to me, Zeiss is kind of like Leica. It's a very high-end, reputable, notable brand, right? So what I thought would be really interesting is, what if they did a camera like this, that instead of it being like a Sony camera with, what was I saying? Instead of it being a Sony camera with a Zeiss lens on it, which it's an old lens, but it's a great lens. I'm totally fine with that lens. Everything I've seen from that lens, just in a little bit of research I've done, looks fantastic. What if they did like a Zeiss body, like a Zeiss Sony camera combo, you know, and sort of use the brand Zeiss as use the little blue Zeiss symbol as their like a red dot. Do you know what I mean? I thought that would be kind of interesting. I don't know if they'd be able to do that. Again, I have no idea how any of this works. But here we are. So I'll have the RX1R III in a couple of weeks. So I'm excited to see what it can do. I'm definitely an interchangeable lens guy, but this one does seem like a pretty remarkable camera, price aside. Yeah, so I think that's one of the things is like I'm totally fine and totally for cameras like this. But even in the Leica and the Fuji side, like with Fuji's, for example, with their GFX lines, I wouldn't buy one of the ones with a built-in lens. I think I'd always want the ability to change the lens. And maybe it is just because where I'm at financially, I can't justify spending that much money and being locked into one thing. I need it to be multi-purpose. I need to be able to do portraits, landscapes. Like I need to be able to do lots of stuff. No, I still love primes. Don't give me a zoom or anything like that. I still want to have primes, but like what if it was like it came with 3 primes that were all small and all the same size, you know, or something different where it was like, I don't know. I struggle to understand non-interchangeable lens cameras. That's kind of where, just for the utility side of things. A lot of leakers are from the manufacturer side of things. I hope, like, that sounds bad to say, I hope so. Yeah, it would just be sad if it was coming from the people who are being trusted as third-party people, you know? It just seems kind of sleazy. I mean, it's sleazy either way, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see kind of what ends up happening with the camera sort of industry in general, because a lot of these leaks are beginning to make people think or have some questions or start to look at things a little bit differently. Because I don't know, just leak. Yeah, like I said earlier, when leaks get it wrong, it just does so much damage, and it just gets people so like riled up for something or riled up against something, and then whenever their expectations aren't met, for better or for worse, they're just kind of upset. You know, nobody wants to be upset. Well, some people like to be upset, but that makes no sense to me. Why would you want to be upset? But yeah. Well, anyway, that's plenty about that camera. It's a little bit of a quieter day in here today, but that's okay. I'll probably be on here till about 5-ish my time, so that's in about 20 minutes. But what are people shooting these days? That's something I would love to know about my viewers who are like in the live streams. What do each of you guys use cameras for? Are you YouTube people? Are you professionals? Are you hobbyists? Are you, I don't know, what other options are there? Like weddings, real estate people? What are the kind of things that people are using, right? If I'm assuming that most of my viewership are not RX1 III people. So what are you guys? That sounded really aggressive. What are you guys? But like, what is it that you're actually shooting on, and what is it you're actually doing with your cameras? Because for me, this camera is not for me. But that doesn't mean it's not for everybody. But I want to know what it is for you. A lot of people also wait on the new camera that's rumored to come out, which slows down the camera market. That's probably the most damaging. Yeah, I'm a little guilty of that right now. That's what I'm saying about like the Nikon ZR. I'm waiting on that. But one of the reasons I'm waiting on it is because I don't need anything right now. Like, I don't need to buy a new camera. I'm perfectly content with everything that I have. And anything that I do purchase is impulse purchase. Because like my FX30 that I'm filming on right now, it does everything that I need. Anything from weddings to YouTubey stuff to interviews or like some short stories. It does all of it really, really well. So unless there's a competitor for that, then I'm not buying anything for now. So the FX30's kind of set my standard of like, this is what I need in a camera. Or not need, this is what I will use in a camera. So we'll kind of see where it goes from there. Geek of All Trades is a YouTube people. I haven't actually checked out your channel. I'm guessing Geek of All Trades. Is that tech? Are you in tech? Let me look you up here. Geek of All Trades. Let me pull this up. I don't even know if that's your actual channel, but I will check. There you are, Geek of All Trades. Dude, you got a huge channel. tech, hardware, DIY. Very cool. That's sweet. One thing when it comes to like DIY stuff that I've really wanted to get into is some 3D printing. And I haven't done it yet, but I'm really tempted. Because I don't know why, but I want to. I think especially for like camera rigging, I feel like having the 3D printing capabilities to make some of my own stuff would be really cool. I used to be professional, now it's mainly YouTube and content creation. Very cool, John. How's your channel been going? I hope things are going well with it. I don't know when did I introduce your channel? It wasn't all that long ago. We've had some back and forth, but yeah, very cool. I'm surprised my go-to camera is still my ZV-E10 over my FX30 for most shots. Weird, I know, but the E10 with a nice lens is super crispy and clear, and it's a bit lighter even with the cage. Definitely, it is small and light. I'm actually thinking about making some more ZV-E10 content. I've been thinking about it a little bit over the last little while. Just because, well, it's kind of what got this whole channel going was the ZV-E10. But still, I'm still getting comments about it, like especially in these live streams. I still get a lot of comments and questions about the Sony ZV-E10, so there's still a market there. And when it comes to this channel, that's, I'm trying to focus on the things that people actually want to know, rather than just, talking about what everyone else is talking about. Because it's very easy, especially when you start getting sent stuff. It's like, oh, I'm getting a new lens. Let's talk about this lens. But then nobody has questions. Nobody's asking about that lens. So it might build your audience, because then you get more of the people who are, the people who are interested in that lens. You might get them and they might join your channel. But then the people who've been here since the start, who are here for this other piece of equipment, you might lose them along the way, because they're like, well, he's now talking about really expensive stuff and I'm focusing on these cheaper pieces of gear. So I'm thinking about trying to hop back into some of the ZV-E10 stuff. Just to see what people are doing, and see what kind of questions people have. So one of the videos I think I'm going to try and do next week is like just a basics, like what settings I use for video on the ZV-E10, because I get that one quite a lot. So I'll have to do that. Avid filmmakers here. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Yes, 3D printing is fantastic for us nerds. I had 25 Ender 3 printers at the highest time. Now I'm down to 11. What are you doing with 25 printers? I'm guessing it's more like industrial, where you're like actually making stuff and like sending stuff out, or doing it on larger scale. But I don't even know where I'd put one. I got so much junk in here that I need to get rid of. Maybe over in this table back here where the coffee machine is. Maybe stick it over there. That could possibly work. Is the Ender 3 the best? I've heard a lot about the Ender 3. Would that be your top recommendation? Is the Ender 3? Let me know. It's getting better now, but I was hard as hell the last couple of years, especially when you have 2 kids. Yeah, I don't have any kids, but we do have. I've got a full-time job, and then I've got my wife and I own a coffee shop, and yeah, we're getting pretty tired of trying to juggle all of that. Just like I've been noticing, if you see me touching my eyes, my wife's been gone on vacation all week. She's had a girls' trip out to the beach, and so I've been manning the coffee shop this whole week, as well as everything else, and my eyes are like twitching like crazy, because I've just been like really tired. It's a lot to balance, but yeah, I was about to say I'm glad I don't have kids. That is not the right statement, but I certainly would not be able to do the things that we've been able to do if we had that, because that's a huge undertaking. So yeah, you've helped me grab such good lens and a lot of vital information for the ZV-E10. Absolutely love your content. Thank you. I'm glad that's gone well. Which lens? Which lenses are you using with the ZV-E10? You weren't the guy that was talking about this 56mm, were you? I can't remember. What was your first camera for content creation? Mine was a Nikon D5100 back in 2015. So I only started content creation recently. It was like two and a half years ago. So I had a Sony A7 III for the longest time. and my wife wanted to get into photography, so I sent her, or I got her a Sony ZV-E10 to try and learn it, and very quickly she got into it and absolutely loved it. So pretty quickly we actually ended up swapping, because she was using her camera more than I was, because I have a full-time job here, and this is before we had the coffee shop. So she took the A7 III and started using that for and went out and did family portraits and did a lot of stuff and absolutely loved it. And I just had this little ZV-E10 that I was having fun with, and then I decided to build it up into a big cinema rig, which was ridiculous. It was the first video I ever made on the channel, and it was I kept saying, look, don't do this. This is silly. This is a waste of money, but I'm going to keep doing it. And that video did really well. It's still one of my best performing videos, and it was the first video I ever made. So technically it was ZV-E10, but my first camera that I ever had was a Nikon D5300 back in the day. But it was just, I wasn't doing any content creation, I wasn't doing any of that stuff. That was in 2012-ish. Yeah, I didn't start YouTube content creation stuff till 2022. Yeah, very end, it was December 22. So... Geekful Trades, I also enjoy my ZV-E10 every day. See, I don't have any anymore of the originals. I have the ZV-E10 Mark II, but I'm actually going to sell it. I have a video coming out about that. But I might get another ZV-E10, because every time I make a video about the ZV-E10 Mark II, people are like, oh yeah, cool. And then when I make one about the ZV-E10 original one, everyone's like, there's so many more, it's just so much more popular. I don't know why. Probably because loads of people have it, and it's still such a cheap camera. Your Cine Rig videos for the ZV-E10 absolutely killed it. They were amazing. It's given me inspiration to make a cinema rig for my A7C Mark II. Nice, well good. They are fun. They're fun videos to make. I have a couple more planned coming out here soon of different rigs that I'm working on. One for the S9, and then probably one for the FX30. Because I found some cool new little accessories that will make rigging cameras really easy. Yeah, that's been a big part of this channel, has been rig videos. But I'm trying my best not to just do rig videos, because if I lock myself into just having that one niche, there was a period of time there where I made a few relatively sequentially, and all other videos that I made performed terribly. It killed, the algorithm started to push those videos only, and not my other videos. So I'm trying to do it where it's every few months I'll do something rig related, but the rest of the time I'm just talking about other camera gear that I have and enjoy. I went with the Ender 3 because parts were cheap and available, and it worked great for selling my custom parts. Just same model over and over. There are much better printers out there now too. Okay. Well, I'm going to be moving in January. We're going to sell our house. And I'm probably going to move this studio into wherever we move to. Whatever new house or wherever we can rent or buy. So, give me some recommendations of a good 3D printer for beginners. Not too cheap, because I want to actually get invested in it and make sure that it's good, but also not crazy. I don't know what a reasonable price for a 3D printer is. $500? Is that cheap? I have no idea. Did you have a chance to try the Sigma 17-40? I haven't yet. I did try contacting Sigma, but to see if they'd send me one. But I don't have the budget right now to just go out and buy one. As much as I'd like to. We're working on a couple of things. Just within the family, a couple of financial changes that we're doing. We're working on some property and getting that fixed up to sell. So expendable income for cameras is very limited right now. So, which is sad. Makes me sad. So if you want to use my affiliate links to help me be able to buy lenses like this, then that'd be great. But otherwise, I mean, if Sigma would send me one, or if I can rent one, I definitely will. Because I think that on the FX30 might be an absolute killer combo. DJ lighting, I'm kind of beginning filmmaking. I'm a kind of beginning filmmaker who's in the 8th grade. I currently have an Osmo Pocket 3, and I'm wondering if the Lumix S9 would be a good upgrade for my first mirrorless camera. Yeah. I mean, it'd be great. It depends what you want to do. 8th grade, That's a lot of money to throw around in 8th grade. So as long as that's within your budget and you have money left over for lenses, then sure. Make sure that this is something that you want to do first, and that before you actually want to start throwing money at stuff. I love my S9, and it's probably the highest image quality you can get for the lowest amount of money, in my opinion. But just getting an S9 won't make you a great filmmaker. So make sure that you're enjoying it. You know, master your Osmo Pocket first. Learn editing, do all that kind of stuff. And if you have the budget for it, then sure, it's a great camera. But yeah, don't hurt yourself financially if you don't need to. I got a Sony 16mm, 7 Artisans 50mm, and my favorite Photo C 35mm. I don't know that one. Photo C 35mm lens. Love the Swoley bokeh on the 35mm. Interesting. Is that a manual lens? I think Photo C only make manuals, don't they? I need to look that one up real quick. And it's swirly bokeh. I do love. I gifted somebody my Helios a while ago, and I regret it because I got that thing for $50 like 6 years ago, and now they're worth like $400. Maybe not quite that much, but they're definitely worth a lot. Wow, this is a $35 lens. $35. And it's got swirly bokeh. That's crazy. Oh wow, there's like weird corner stuff looking at some of these photos. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out for $35. You know, hang on, let me bookmark that because that's cool. I always love finding really cheap lenses for cheap cameras. That often does pretty well. All right. Howdy, coming into the stream. Glad to be here now. Good to see you, Gabe. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Is the ZV-E10 II worth the higher cost than the ZV-10 original? Mark II takes the same battery as the FX30. So here's my thing. Here's my complaint and my rant. So brace yourself for a rant. Yes, it is far more expensive. It's $1,000. It should not be $1,000. Everybody says it's a baby FX30 and it's not. The only thing it shares with the FX30 is the battery and the sensor. So image-wise, it's very close. I don't think the color science is exactly the same. It's just a little different. So sure, image is very good. So yes, it does a really good job for image. But the thing was, so many people marketed it as like a budget FX30. But there's so much about the FX30 that I love that you don't get on the ZV-E10 Mark II. Like, I love my XLR handle. I love having the dual card slots. I love the body design. I love all of the mounting points. I love its versatility. I love its lack of overheating. Full-size HDMI. Loads of things, right? There's loads about the FX30 that just make it such a good camera, in my opinion. Most of the things that the ZV-E10 Mark II lacks are my favorite things about the FX30. And it's $1,000. So it's really hard. I don't think the ZV-E10 Mark II is worth it. I prefer the original for the money. The original is, you can get the original used for $500 easily, and the Mark II is $1,000. And for double the money, I don't know. I don't think so. Personally, when you can get a Lumix S9 for the same amount of money, I don't know why I'd go with the ZV-10 Mark II. And this is somebody who's like, I love the ZV-E10. And they just need to do something interesting. Like if they put 32-bit float inside the ZV-E10 Mark II, that would be awesome. Or if they added, I don't know, if they gave it IBIS, that would have been huge. With the price difference, I kind of thought I was going to get IBIS, but no IBIS, which the original doesn't have IBIS either, but again, it's half the price. So I don't know. It's a strange one. It's a strange one to find the balance. It's not that it's a bad camera. I just don't really like it. It just didn't land for me. And I think that's normal. That happens, right? Sometimes people get cameras and it's like, you know what, this just isn't doing it for me. Other cameras do. So, but each to their own at that point. Oh man, did you see the new Cineback USB-C gap thing? It looks like a great option for how I use the Cineback these days. I've been really tempted to get a Cineback and give it a go. Because it just looks really cool. And every time he releases, this is the problem, every time he releases a new one, it fixes the things that I'm like, I'm not sure about that. So I know the moment I'll buy one, he's going to come up with a new one. And I'm going to be like, dang it. But I also just love building rigs out of like bits and bobs. So it's kind of like an all-in-one solution, but I should probably get one as a for a review for sure. Oh, we have a super chat in here. Thank you so much. Alan Jones, thanks. That's so very kind of you. There's absolutely no need for that, but I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Look after yourselves, please. Please make 3D print videos, growing an interest due to manufacturing reshoring. I'll definitely look into one, especially for rigging, because I feel like there are some really cool little camera accessories or things that you could make out of 3D printing. Again, the Cineback is almost entirely designed from a 3D print, or it's only made possible because of 3D printing. So I'll definitely give something a go. Again, with all the stuff that I'm doing, learning a new skill is like daunting because I'm like, that takes time. But I'll definitely give it a go. And your super chat will it'll go straight to a 3D printer budget. Promise. That's very kind of you. Thanks so much. Oh, here's a question, real quick for you, Alan, over in Northern Ireland. What's the shipping situation like over there for camera gear? Because my sister's over there and she's had a really hard time getting V-mount batteries. She can't get them shipped to Northern Ireland on Amazon or anywhere. And she would have to go into a store and then they're shockingly expensive. So is there a weird shipping thing for Northern Ireland for things like batteries and all that kind of stuff? Because that would be a nightmare. I would hate that. But again, thank you very much. It's very kind. Just got in the Lumix EDU program. Get extra discounts to a Lumix S9 B-Cam is coming soon. EDU program? What's that? Education? Is that for students? That's cool. That's very cool. Sorry, B camera to your what? What's your A camera? I don't actually know. What's your A cam? As a creator yourself, do you watch other creators as well? Yeah. Most of them. There's a whole bunch of us who are in a Discord together. Some tech YouTubers, some of the camera people, just people that I've got to hang out with in the past. And we all sort of, every time we upload a video, we'll send them to each other and ask for critiques and all that kind of stuff and bounce thumbnail ideas off each other. So I watch them. And yeah, I watch a decent amount. I don't watch all of them because there's loads. I came across another guy today who's in the camera niche and he's got 300,000 subs and I'd never seen him before. So it's there's always new people that you can find. But I watch a lot of gaming videos and I watch VFX breakdowns. I love watching VFX breakdowns. It's one of my things that I watch a lot of. And outside of that, anime is my other thing that I love watching. So I'm working through Black Clover again before the new season comes out. So also we just got a dealership photographer gig and getting the new Lumix 24-60. The 24-60 looks really cool. What kind of dealership? Are you talking about a car dealership? This is something that I didn't do, but I was thinking about this for forever of if I had the time and I was wanting to get into photography again. Because I did this with real estate photography when I lived in Lexington, was just going to realtors and being like, hey, let me take photos of your houses, pay me and I'll do it for you. And it worked. It worked great. And easy money. And I was thinking, I could totally just do that at car dealerships as well. Just going into a car dealership and saying hey, I was on your website, we're looking for a new car. I thought you could potentially do with some help with the photography for all of your online marketing. I'd love to do some for you. So let me do one for free. And if you like it, we can talk. So I'm really tempted to give that a go in the future if my workload lightens up. That would definitely be very tempting. Anyway, I don't know if that's at all what you mean by dealership. But that was on my mind. DJ lighting. I'm so blessed because it is in my budget, and there is a bundle on B&H that is $1,700 with the lens. I'm a DJ and make a good amount of money, which is amazing. I've had the Pocket 3 for 2.5 years now. Very cool. Yeah. Sorry, I need to go back up and see what you're talking about. Oh, the S9. Yeah, dude, you're like, I've got a buddy who's a DJ. He does weddings. He makes serious money doing DJing. So if that's what you're already into at 8th grade, congrats, keep it going, keep doing well. So the bundle is for the S9 for $1,700 with a lens. Check their used stuff as well. It's like the S9. There's loads of them used, tons of them used. So you could probably find it cheaper. But if you'd rather go with new and you can get it through a reputable source like B&H, then great. But I saw one used on Amazon the other day for $1,050. That didn't have a lens. But again, I wouldn't get the kit lens. I would probably rather get some primes. But no, if that works for you and you got the budget to do it, go for it. Sounds like a good option. Also, don't forget the A6700 is a fantastic option. Yes, so I'm getting rid of my ZV-E10 Mark II, but I'm not getting rid of my A6700. The A6700 has things that the FX30 doesn't, right? And that the that the ZV-E10 Mark II doesn't have. So I did a video comparing the two a while ago, and I kind of said that the A6700 is just better in every metric. And it's not much more expensive. I think used they're like $1,200. So you got the EVF, you got mechanical shutter, you got IBIS, you got a lot in there. For only $200 more. That's better option. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna hop back to what I was saying about the camera, the RX1R III camera. The fact that this camera is like $400 more than the ZV-E10 Mark II, but it adds a viewfinder and IBIS and a mechanical shutter for just $400 tells me that you don't need, it wouldn't make the camera drastically more expensive to add those things. Now, obviously, size might be a problem. That camera is teeny tiny. But yeah, so that's by the by. It's clearly not that much more expensive to add it because the A6700 is basically a ZV-E10 Mark II with a better processor. It's got the AI autofocusing chip, mechanical shutter, viewfinder, and IBIS for just a couple $100 more. Doesn't make sense to me. So that's a much better camera. Yeah, great option. Not Northern Ireland, but in England, it's easy to get camera gear and accessories, and there's no tariffs. Prices are reasonable. That's good to know. Yeah, so yes, there's just something weird about shipping things to Ireland. I don't know why. I think it's mainly batteries, as far as I'm aware. There's an Irish Amazon that recently launched that will do batteries here. Yes, did Amazon open their headquarters in Dublin? That's if anybody doesn't know about Dublin recently, Ireland has, Southern Ireland in particular, the economy is booming because all of these giant corporations came over and have placed their headquarters there because they were getting super low taxes. Genius move. Now, it's made real estate in Dublin impossible for the regular person. It's monstrously expensive over there in the city. In the countryside, it's not too bad, but yeah, it's totally changed the whole landscape of the country. What is it they call it? I think it's the Celtic Tiger economy or something like that. Maybe that was the old one. I think it was back in 2009. Anyway, ACAM is the S5 IIX. Nice. That's on my list. It's on my list. It's not super high up on my list. But again, my list is a camera that would replace my FX30 as my ACAM. And the the S5 Mark II, the S5 IIX is relatively high up there on that list because you can find them for pretty decent prices. Yes, legacy issue, but I have an East Belfast workaround. A local company can get them for your family. We'll email you details tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, do. That'd be great. The last time I went home, I just brought my sister 2 or 3 V-mount batteries and just gave them to her for Christmas because she just couldn't get them for a while. But What does one's qualifications need to be to get into the Discord? John, I'll shoot you a message on Instagram. I'm not in charge of it. I'm just in it, but I'll certainly, I'll send a link through, or I'll message the guys who run it. It's a car dealership, and I'm taking pics of a few cars and sending it to their editor. Super smooth. Nice. Very cool. That seems like that'd be fun. I've only done automotive photography once, and it was really fun. I got my father-in-law bought a beautiful old Corvette from like the 90s. So we went out and I made a video about this. Actually, it's on the channel. It's the A7 III against the A6000, which I got the A6000 for $200 for a friend of mine. And honestly, I couldn't tell the difference in the photos that I took, and I didn't even like nerf the A7 III. Like the A7 III had a high-end Zeiss 35mm f1.4 on it, and the A6000 had a really cheap Viltrox 23mm f1.4 on it. And they both turned out really good. They're different. They look a little different, but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I'm intrigued. If you guys can find it, let me find it and I'll put it in the chat, because I'm really intrigued to see what you guys think about that, because I'm tempted to revisit the question of APS-C versus full frame, because people still get all riled up about it, about which one's better. And I still think that there are other things that are far, far more important than that question. I'm not saying that full frame isn't better, but it's not better if you don't know how to use it. Where on earth is that video? Can I search? I can. Okay. I think it's this one. Let me just double check, and I'll throw it in the chat over here. Let me just double check. This is old. This is an old video. All right. This is taking forever. I apologize. I'm going to keep talking about nothing while I try and do this. But, all right. Here we go. Phone, work for me, please. I think it's this one. All right. Sorry that took a while. Super random, but have you seen the 7 Artisans 35mm f9 or f0.95? I haven't seen 7 Artisans one. I do have. I have these. These are actually like my favorite lenses. And they are T1.0, which is basically f0.95. And these are by ZY Optics. And they're cine lens versions, but they have photography lens versions of these as well. But yeah, I love them. Like, now, obviously it's going to be manual. Getting an autofocus lens like that would be kind of crazy. But look at like all that glass. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? And I'm upside down, which is also kind of weird. But anyway, I haven't seen the 7 Artisans one. Whoa. My audio just went wild. Did I just peak there? Let me know if audio went really bad there or peaked. It did it again. Anyway, everyone complains that my live streams aren't loud enough, so I'm trying to increase the volume, but then it keeps peaking. All right. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll see what it's like. DJ, thank you so much for the advice regarding the S9. You're welcome. Thanks, buddy. Question for you. What would your dream camera specs be? I think that all comes down to price. So dream camera is one that I can afford, right? So it would need to be $4,000 or less at a starting point. So it needs to be reasonably affordable. Full frame, probably, because realistically, if you're getting in a medium format for video, it's going to be more than $4,000. Full frame, I like 6K open gate, but I would also love to be able to do 4K open gate as well, because 6K is hard to edit sometimes. But do give me open gate, because it's helpful for vertical cropping for videos if I want to do some shorts, which I'm starting to try and work on a little bit more. I think one thing that would be really cool for cameras to start doing is add some, whatever it's called, 32-bit float inside of the camera. And if it was in a cinema styled body. One thing that Blackmagic cameras used to do that I love is the mini XLR ports, so that you can put XLR mics straight into the camera. Sorry, there's loads of people yelling outside my door. Now, Sony does that with the XLR handle, which is great, and I love that. But you can't use a monitor in the way that I like to mount them with the XLR handle. So if you had a mini XLR port, that kind of frees that up. I don't need slow motion, so 60p is fine. Max of 60p is fine. And good autofocus. I don't know. I'm kind of getting to the point where it's like, specs wise, I don't know. I know I just listed a lot of crazy stuff, potentially. Specs wise, I don't need a whole lot. I just need it to be good. I would rather a camera do 4K really well than 6K mediocrely. Does that make sense? So specs wise, I'm not too concerned. I'm more concerned with the body and what the body offers. So good audio is going to be one, because I've started to love running XLR straight into the camera. I apologize about the noise if you guys can hear that. I love being able to run XLR straight into the camera. So that's kind of like a thing that's becoming big for me. So I don't know. I like the mini XLR as an option. Full size XLR would be great, but you're not going to get that in a camera that's small enough, in my opinion. Oh man, I love some Viltrox lenses. Yeah, some of the Viltrox lenses are really nice. They're pro lenses, the f1.2s. Those are beautiful. Yes, automotive is my bread and butter, but the dealership is just mindless photo taking. But it provides me with the funds I need to get to do creative stuff for free. Sweet, that's cool. So they don't have super high expectations? Because that was like one of the things that I kind of hated about doing the real estate, was like, I wanted to do like higher end real estate. But the people I was working with, they were just like, just go take photos, we'll pay you. It's fine. They just need to be better than my phone. Right? That was kind of what I was told by one of them. And I was like, yeah, but I can make it really cool. But they weren't paying me that much. And they didn't there was no motivation to actually film really, really well. So I didn't, but I kind of wish I did. Kofi's here on a road trip from Wyoming to Salt Lake. I don't know how far that is, but that feels like a long way. Just going to say, hey, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Enjoy your drive. I saw you were over with Brandon. Looked like you guys had a good time. So, did you get your 12K stuff sorted? Did you get your power cable and everything that you needed? I wasn't able to stay till the end of the live stream, so I don't know if you actually got that fixed. But I hope you got it working. Yeah, I haven't even looked. If you like it, if you like this video, if you're here and having a good time, go ahead and hit like. It means something. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't need a whole lot. I just need it to be really good. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. No, you're right. Okay, so that's probably kind of counterintuitive. Yes, I don't need it to be. When I say that, I mean like I don't need 8K. I don't need 240 frames per second. Honestly, I just need 4K 24 to be really good. That's kind of where I'm at, right? With what I do, because doing church stuff, I'm doing a lot of talking headshots, interviews, stuff like that. I don't use slow motion. I don't even like slow motion anymore. I'm kind of done with slow motion. So I just need really good 4K 24. That's all I want. Sam's here. How's it going? Hey Thomas, hope you're doing good this evening. Curious to know if you have a favorite menu system of the brands. Ooh, favorite menu system. I have a least favorite menu system. Fuji's. Fuji's menu system is awful. I have the XM5, and the menu is just terrible. And one of the things they don't tell you when you go to delete a photo, it puts you in delete mode. So when you select delete and then you hit OK, it'll then delete that photo and bring you back to another photo. But what it doesn't tell you is it's already asking you if you want to delete that photo. So you can accidentally just go through and start deleting photos really quickly if you're not careful. That's by the by. Fuji's menu systems are awful. Lumix and Sony are both comparably annoying, but not too bad, is what I would say. But what I would say is I know Sony well, because I've used Sony a lot. So I think Sony's probably one of my favorites because I've used it so much. But Lumix wasn't bad, actually. It's been relatively easy to learn. And then Nikon's not bad either. Look, honestly, once you use a Blackmagic camera, no camera menu system is good. It's just not. Like, as soon as if you pick up any of the pockets or or Pixis or any of those, there's no such thing as a good menu system until once you've used Blackmagic. It's just so easy and so good. So it's all in Toronto, so none of the others were able to get working then. That's a shame. That's always really annoying, like when you get something really like exciting and new, but you don't have one of the major pieces to actually use it. Like I remember when I pre-ordered my A7 III, I sold all of my old Nikon DSLRs, and my A7 III arrived with my lens, but I totally forgot to get an SD card. So I was sitting there with this camera and I was like, I can't do anything. I can't use it. But so yeah, and that's frustrating. Cheers everyone, have a great evening, enjoyed the session. Thanks Joe, hope Lazy Man Joe's, hope you have a good evening. Yeah, no, the dealership just wants photos for online listings, and they just need quantity over quality. Yeah, I kind of hate that, don't you? Where it's like, why don't you just pay me more to do less but do it really well? Like that's what I want. You know, it's like I want someone to just be like, look, take your time. Well, we're going to pay you more, but we just want to get, give us 5 incredible photos of each car rather than 50 photos of these cars, but they don't need to be good. But yeah. So tomorrow are you heading home tomorrow? Nice. Very good. I've actually never been up to Canada. I need to go up there sometime. I think Toronto's only like 8 hours for me, but I'll need to try and make a drive sometime. Don't know how close it is, but I had a similar experience with the XT3, so I get that. Having used an Ursa, I 100% agree. DJI is so simple too. Yeah, DJI. Now DJI don't have a camera. The Pocket 3 is pretty simple, but also the Pocket 3 can't do as much as the other camera can. But yeah, I'd be intrigued. I think if DJI made a camera, I bet you their menus would probably be pretty good. That's just an assumption. I'm sure they'd probably do a really good job. But yeah, that's one of the things that, like, one of the reasons that I haven't made a video about the XM5 yet is the menus have just driven me crazy. Like, I can't figure out, like, I genuinely I've worked on it for ages and I'm refusing to look up tutorials because I'm stubborn. I cannot figure out how to change the exposure compensation. Can't find it. Can't find it anywhere. I've looked and it's just not there. Like, that's one of those settings that I think should be incredibly easy to access. But anyway, I haven't given it as much thought as it sounds like I have. I've given it like 10 minutes and I got angry. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Lumix menu wasn't too bad coming from Sony. Just took a few shoots. Yeah, they're similar. They're a similar setup, so they're pretty intuitive, which I think is quite nice. Yeah, both of them are good. Neither are great, but both of them are good. I'd love to get my hands on a Pixis or a Burano. We'd all love to get our hands on a Pixis or a Burano, yeah. It's very expensive. The Pixis 12K would be one that I'd be intrigued about if I was able to get it at its non-tariffed price in the future, and if they do something cool with the autofocus. Like if autofocus becomes really usable. Again, like I've got this plan or this number of high-end, like camera to aim for down the line. And if it's not the Nikon ZR, if that doesn't end up being a thing, then a Komodo KX Z mount, a Komodo KX, Red KX with a Z mount is pretty high up on my list. But a Pixis 12K being around the same price, that would be pretty tempting as well. So yeah, we'll see. Only use the old Sony system. It was pretty bad. Part of gas is compelling me to upgrade. Hello? There are kids running around outside. Sorry, we got like a family event going on. And now they're vacuuming. All right. I'm probably going to need to call it here soon. Sorry, only use the old Sony system. Part of gas is compelling me to upgrade just for the update. The menu is not worth upgrading for. I'll say that much. The menu's not. It's better, but it's not that much better. But yeah, gas will get you. If you don't need a new camera, don't buy a new camera. Oh yeah, the Ronin. I forgot about the Ronin. DJI has a Ronin 4, and that is super sick cam, but it's definitely cinema focused. I guess not bad at like 6K compared to an FX6. I forgot about the Ronin. Should I add the Ronin to my list? How much is a used Ronin? Let me see. It's an interesting camera and a very specific camera, but there's one on MPB for $4,309. Wow. $4,300. Adorama has one for $4,366. Interesting. I don't think I would use it, but I would be very tempted to add that to my list. I'll probably not buy one. It's probably not going to make it through the list, but I might add it to my list of like other cool cameras that might end up being one to get. Again, I'm looking at that like $4,000 or $5,000 price range. Notice how I went from 4 to 5 all of a sudden. See, this is why I need to not buy things. I don't need a new camera. Maybe there's another whole video for another time. Most people don't need to upgrade their cameras. I don't need a new camera. I want a new camera. And I may splurge on a new camera, but not because I need it, just because I want it. And I think that's okay at times, as long as it's not like negatively impacting my family financially. But most people don't need to upgrade their cameras. Like, I think this is probably going to upset people. I think the majority of people could do what they do with a Lumix S9 or lower, or an A6700. Like I think everybody could get by with a sub $1,500 camera. Now obviously we'd like to have more, but that's my take. Is we don't need a whole lot, especially when 99% of things are just going on social media these days. You don't need a whole lot. But yeah, there's that. Need a new camera isn't a think unless the old one is broken or just that outdated. Yeah, isn't a thing. Yeah, no, you don't need it. You want it, and that's okay. You can buy new cameras. If you want a new camera, go buy a new camera, as long as you can afford it. But it's easy to get swept into, and I have to say, even in the YouTube space, like it's kind of hard because like the channel is getting to the point where I'm starting to be offered more gear. Now I'm not getting offered cameras, but in theory, I could probably reach out to some companies and maybe try to get some. I'm probably not going to do that because I don't need them, but I can understand how it would be easy to get to a point where I just start recommending new stuff all the time because I can get it. Or I can use it to make money. But that's kind of the same thing for any professional. Like, people shouldn't be buying new gear at the price point that a lot of the gear is, unless they have silly Leica money, like we were talking about earlier. But most people shouldn't be buying high-end cameras unless their cameras are making them money. I saw somebody put out a video recently of like, you don't need an expensive camera. All you need, what was it he said? He said, you don't need an expensive camera and he said, you probably can't tell the difference between these two shots. Here's a cheap camera, here's an expensive one. But the cheap camera, I think, was an FX3. Or was it an A7S III? I think it was an A7S III. Which, depending on your perspective, is a cheap camera. But it's not. It's a lot of money, right? So perspective-wise, everything can get really muddy, right? If you're in... You could be in a certain type of market in the camera community where an FX3 is a budget camera to you. Or you could be in a position where an FX3 is unattainable and completely out of your hopes and dreams, right? Your hopes and dreams are an FX30, and that's fine. Both sides of that are fine. But the most important thing is, like, if you're going to be spending thousands of dollars on a camera and it's a serious investment compared to your level of income, then you need to be making money with your camera. And the beautiful thing about cameras is that there are loads of ways to do that. Like, that's one of my favorite things about the camera world, is there are so many ways that you can make money with your camera. Like, all of this debate, I've got a video planned coming out about this, so you guys get a little bit of a preview. But all the people online who are like, you're not a real filmmaker, and they keep throwing around the word filmmaker. It's like, you're not a real filmmaker. It's like, I know I'm not a filmmaker, but you don't have to be a filmmaker to get to use cameras to make money. Like, there's loads of options. You can be a real estate photographer or videographer. You can do weddings. You can do YouTube. You can do commercials. You can do, like, family portraits. There's like this kind of unlimited amount of stuff that you can do with cameras to make money with them. So this whole thing of like, well, you're not a real filmmaker, it's like, that's fine. I don't need to be a filmmaker to enjoy cameras and to talk about cameras, because cameras aren't a niche item, right? There are cameras on cars. There are cameras on phones. There's cameras in cameras. There's so much stuff, right? So like, you can, like, it's, the conversation is so much bigger than just the word filmmaker, which is kind of a convoluted title anyway, because, you know, there's a lot of lines about like, well, what does filmmaker mean? So that's a bit of a rant. But yeah, I have this kind of, I mean, that's one of the things I love about cameras and photography, videography, all that kind of stuff, is like, you got Gabe in here who's making a living, you know, taking photos of cars. You have DJ up there. He's a DJ, but he's using his money to get an S9. You got Geek of all trades who has the FX30, but he's actually loving his ZV-E10 because it works better for his workflow. Like, you got all of these kinds of things, and they're all different, yet they all work. And like, you can make a camera work for you. Like, the majority of the money that I've made on this channel has been with the ZV-E10, which is the cheapest camera I've ever talked about on this channel. But I think that's just a bit ironic, right? Like, that the cheapest piece of gear is the one that's probably made me the most money. So, yeah, I mean, sorry, that was a rant. Cameras are cool. And it's a fun ecosystem, and it's great that I get to have conversations with actual filmmakers and know how they talk, even though I'm not really in that world. But I can resonate a little bit, so that's kind of fun. All right, sorry, rant over. I got about 2 minutes left, and then I'm going to have to peace out, I'm afraid. Sorry, folks. But my wife's coming home, and I need to finish doing the dishes because I have been a little lazy this week. I could definitely get by with an 6700, but I don't want to. Yeah, that's totally true. Like, again, I could get by with my ZV-E10 Mark II, but I don't want to because I have my FX30, so I'm going to keep using that. You need to work on your brand deal strategy because they should be paying you to make content that they want to use for marketing. Yeah. There will come a point, potentially not too far away, where this YouTube thing becomes the majority of my income, potentially. And I am going to have to reevaluate how I approach sponsorships, brand deals and stuff like that. Because for now, I don't need it, so I'm not really making use of it, which makes my life easier. But I wouldn't mind a paycheck, potentially. Get the camera that makes sense for your situation. Anything else you see on YouTube is just entertainment, or edutainment. Yeah, no, totally. Which it is entertaining. Like, I love watching Cam Mackey run around with Leicas that I'm never going to buy. But I love seeing what he captures with them. Like, I spend a lot of time watching Kofi unbox a Cine 12K camera. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to buy that camera. I don't need it. Like, that's not within my wheelhouse at all. But that's fine. I think that's totally okay. That's what's so good about it all. And that is, like, for any of you who are in here who ask, hey, which camera should I buy? That's what makes this all so difficult. Is there isn't an answer. Like, there is no answer to which camera should I buy. Because, like, was it John earlier said that he would love to try a Pixis and a Burano? The Burano is an incredible camera, but it's not right for a lot of people. Whereas for some people it is. Or if you come to my channel and you're like, hey, which camera should I buy? And you're expecting me to say a Burano, and I say, maybe an FX30. You're going to be like, who's this guy? What was he talking about? He's like, what do you mean? So it's very difficult. Like when someone's like, which one of these two cameras should I get? It's a very difficult question to answer. And probably better done in person. Which obviously we can't do. But that's where things like NAB or like Build or all of these other, you know, big camera conventions, if you can get to those, you'll find your favorite YouTubers out there, and you can actually like have a conversation with them and explain. It's like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's my budget. Any recommendations? And it's probably going to be easier than just like me talking for a few minutes and then you putting a message into the chat that takes a little while to go through, and then I'm catching up, and then by the time I get there, I've forgotten what your previous message was. Anyway, yes, well said, Kofi. I have a ZV-E10 with a 33mm and a 16mm. I want to get another lens. What should I get? I don't know. What do you want? That's the ultimate question. What do you want? Do you want to do super wide angle stuff? Like for landscapes? Or do you want to do super zoomed in stuff for portraits? It seems like you like primes, so I'd stick with primes if that's you. Other than that, I would recommend just, find out what it is you want to use it for, and then get the most common focal length. Even ask ChatGPT. That's totally fine. Just say to ChatGPT, is like, hey, I have a Sony ZV-E10. Here's the lenses I have. Here's what I want to shoot. What should I buy in this budget? It'll probably give you a good answer. That would be my take. But yeah, well, there we go. That was a little bit of a rant. I've been very ranty today. I'm very tired. So I apologize if I've been ranting a lot. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to watch a movie. And we're going to watch Princess Bride tonight. I've never seen Princess Bride. So the wife and I are going to sit down and watch Princess Bride. But anyway. So, yeah. Sorry, that was kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, I'm probably going to head out here in just a second. So let me go through these last couple of things. So, great stream. Thank you. And thank you again for your super chat. That was very kind of you. Very unnecessary, but I do very much appreciate that. Hope everything's going well back home over in Belfast. I mostly use the camera for a drum cam. Cool. Yeah. So I've never done anything like that. So drum cams, from what I've seen, most people use like fisheyes or something weird. So yeah, figure out something cool and give it a go. See what you get. Yeah. But hey, you know what? It works. Yeah. Sorry, it's kind of funny. That's kind of what I was thinking. But anyway, yes, thank you very much, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. And I will chat to you guys soon. I should have 2 videos coming out next week. So if you aren't subscribed, do subscribe, because that helps out the channel. And then we'll see you all soon. Have a great evening.